Yeah, we all got dreams, but we stuck in the grind. Looking back at the past, but it's time to unwind. Everyone can do it, just gotta take that step. Stop dwelling on the losses, let's rewrite the rep. Hating on the president, calling him corrupt. But let me break it down, we gotta interrupt. Law's been in place, he's just playing the game. Ain't about the man, it's about the system's name. How do we move forward? Let's add something new. Together we can rise, yeah, that's what we do. Don't get stuck in the past, let the hate fall away. We building the future, let's seize the day. Can't you see? You bleeding all over the matrix, caught in the hype. Man, it's all fake tricks. The medic bag empty, y'all shit out of luck. Wake up before you get stuck. Y'all act like y'all in love, but y'all really in love. Lost in the fame and the fortune. You ain't got no sense. You got the influencer fixation. You let them run your life. Red or blue, you're just a puppet with strings, always in strife. You think they care, but they don't give a damn. Just chasing the glow, the celebrity clout. They'll play both sides, the red and the blue, but they're just pulling your strings while you're stuck on your move. You're waiting for someone to tell you you're in luck, but mommy and daddy ain't coming, they're not in the cut. You're so blinded by the fame, the glitz and the glam, you forget what's real and who you really are. Wake up and see that you're just a pawn in the game. The red and the blue, they're all just the same. Stop being a puppet and take control of your life and break free from the chains. It's time to ignite. How do we move forward? Let's add something new. Together we can rise. Yeah, that's what we do. Don't get stuck in the past. Let the hate fall away. We building the future. Let's seize the day. Can't you see? You bleeding all over the matrix. Caught in the hype. Man, it's all fake tricks. The medic bag empty. Y'all shit out of luck. Wake up before you get stuck. Yo, I see the struggle, I feel the pain, but we can't let the darkness keep us chained. We got the power, the voice is the might. Let's come together to wrongs and to right. Everyone's a player, so step to the front. No more division, let's rise from the blunt. It's not just about politics, it's a call to unite. Stand tall, move forward, let's ignite the light. Yeah, we're all in this together, no need to divide. Let's focus on the future, let the love be our guide. From the streets to the halls, let's make change. Break the chains of the past, let's rearrange. You know. Yeah, we living in a world where the rules don't apply. They say we gotta follow, but we ready to fly. System got us boxed in, trying to keep us small. But we rise like the phoenix, we ain't scared to brawl. They feeding us lies, but we see through the smoke. We're the voice of the people, we're ready to provoke. They want us to divide, but we're stronger as one. Breaking chains, taking names, yeah, we getting it done. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. Fist in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. In the world of division, they showed us how to share, but the weight of our sorrows, they never taught us to bear. We split our joys and laughter, but the pain remained untold. A burden we carry alone, a story left untold. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. We learned to divide our dreams and multiply our fears, but the ache in our hearts only grew with passing years. They gave us all the answers, except how to heal. The scars that run so deep, wounds that time can't see. Yeah, they taught us how to share, but only the good. Smiles and laughter like we understood, but deep down inside, there's a storm we hide. Pain in our hearts, we're just trying to ride. Put on a mask, yeah, we play the part, but nobody sees the cracks in the hearts. We share our dreams, the highs and the lows, but when it comes to hurt, we just close the doors. We share the fun times, deflect the pain, laughing in the sunshine, dancing in the rain. But the shadows linger, they creep and they crawl, breaking us down, but we don't share it all. We got hate in our hearts, but we keep concealed. Taught to share the joy, but wounds, they stay unhealed. They say love was easy to divide, but the heartache never subsides. We tried to split everything into two, but the pain lingers strong and true. Shared our dreams, divided our fears, but the sorrow remained through the years. No matter how we tried to let go, the weight of our suffering continued to grow. Now we're apart trying to heal, but some wounds are too deep to conceal. They said splitting up will set us free, yet the pain lingers in you and me. In a world where rules are set in stone, the system's grip tightens, we're not alone. Bound by chains of majestic greed, against the odds we fight to be free. Mighty forces try to keep us down, but our spirits rise, refusing to drown. Defying norms, breaking through the mold. In this battle of wills, our story is told. As the clash continues day by day, we stand united, come what may. For in this world where rules don't apply, our strength and unity will never die. They try to silence our dreams, but we're loud and clear. With every step forward, conquering fear. They can't hold us back. We're the fire and the flame in this battle for freedom. We're all in the game. They say it's just a game, but we're playing for keeps. With the strength of the many, we're shattered the leaps. No more puppets on strings, we're cutting the ties. With our eyes on the prize, we're reaching for the skies. So let's stand together, let's break down the walls. In this fight for our future, we'll answer the calls. From the ashes, we'll rise like a storm. Riders ignite, it's us versus the system, and we're ready to fight. They build the walls, but we're digging tunnels. With every step we take, we're shaking the bundles. From the streets to the courts, we're raising our voice. In a world full of noise, we're making the choice. They want to keep us blind, but we see the light. Knowledge is power, and we're ready to fight. From the corners of the city to the halls of the state, where the heartbeat of the struggle can't afford to wait. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. It's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. Now we stand here broken, searching for some light, hoping for a way out of this never-ending night. But through it all, we find strength in each other's embrace. Together we'll face tomorrow and find solace in this space. They say don't bring the drama, keep it all light. But every night I'm fighting these demons in sight. Whispers in my mind, yeah, they echo when they shout. While I'm smiling on the surface, I'm breaking without. We're sharing the laughter, but what's underneath? A battlefield of sorrow, a war with no peace. We're warriors in silence, but nobody knows how the pain that we carry just grows and it grows. In a world of lessons learned, they taught us how to stand and burn. But the scars we hide deep inside are the ones that never subside. We followed all the rules they made, but the emptiness never fades. Their wounds like knives, cutting through even wounds that always grew. They painted pictures of success, but couldn't fix what's left on us. Now we're left to bear the strain of the pain that lingers, never wanes. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. That's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. So remember this moment, remember this face, remember this sound. We're the voice of the future, and we won't back down. In the face of oppression, we'll stand up tall. It's us versus the system, and united. Riders for Life brings you to Let's Talk About It podcast, yo, man. Let's talk about the current news, the Senate meeting here in Philadelphia. The committed meeting. Why did I put Senate meeting? I don't know why I put Senate meeting up there. I need to fix that and put committee meeting. All right, like what's going on in Philadelphia? All right, it's a lot going on in Philly. So, what I want to do is, right, like I want to expand on what we talked about yesterday because it's, all connected. The schools closing, the taxes rising, the history being erased, the neighborhoods being targeted. It's like every time we blink, something else is being taken from us. All right. And the wild part is they do it slow. All right. Like a drip. So we don't notice until, the bucket is overflowing. But baby, the bucket is overflowing now. All right. 20 schools closing ain't a coincidence. It's a strategy. And when you look who's being, hit the hardest, it tells you everything you need to know. So let me ask y'all, how many signs do we need before we admit this ain't random? It's intentional. All right. With that being said, let me put a few things together. All right. And I'll be right back. All right. So like I said, right, we're going to expand on what's going on here in Philadelphia a little bit. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit more, than that. Like, yesterday, this is a part 2 to yesterday's live. So I'm going to expand a little bit on that. And, a lot of this is just getting, me getting some stuff off my chest, right? It is a lot going on. But like I said, man, how many signs do we need, before we admit that this ain't random, that is intentional, right? And the thing that kills me is how they keep trying to erase Black history while pretending, they're updating the curriculum. Updating what? You can't update something you never told the truth about in the first place, right?
That's right there. That really messes my noggin up. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. All right, they want to erase the struggle, erase the brilliance, erase the resistance. All right, they trying to erase the parts that make them uncomfortable. They want a version of history where we were quiet, obedient, grateful, baby. That never existed. And now they're closing the very schools where our kids, could have learned the truth. So tell me this. Why are they so scared, of black kids, brown kids, knowing who they really are and where they come from? I mean, am I tripping on the question? Hmm. But let me get something off my chest, right? Because this ain't just happening, in the schools, all right? It's happening online too. All right, you come online and suddenly everybody wants to, pick a side. Hmm. You with them or you with us? Baby. Hmm. I'm with the truth. All right. I'm with accountability. I'm with what's right. I'm with, how can I say, I'm not joining no cult, no clique, no fake alliances. All right. Social media got people thinking that life is, WWE. Pick a team, pick a villain, pick a hero, and half the time, all right, the people, yelling louder ain't even, how can I say, living what they preach. So let me ask y'all, when did having your own mind become a crime? And don't get me, started on how family and friends act online. All right. Whew. Folks will expose lies, expose the truth, twist stories, drag each other, all for a little clout, all for, how can I say, a few likes, all for a moment of attention. They'll say money don't buy me, but baby, they out here. They out here selling their souls for free. All right, they'll betray their own blood for a comment section. They'll air out private businesses, all right, like it's a clearance sale, and then wonder why nobody trusts nobody anymore. So let me ask y'all, how do you scream loyalty, but your first instinct is to, hit go live? And the craziest part is, right, the same people who say I'm real, I'm solid, I don't switch up, be the first ones to switch up. All right, when the camera turns on. They'll rewrite history faster than the school district. They'll play victim, play, can I say, hero, play villain, whatever role gets them the most attention that day. And I've seen it online and offline. And it's wild because offline, they quiet. They quiet. All right. Like I've seen people do some shiesty shit offline, but they quiet, humble, regular. But online, whoa, baby, they turn into Marvel characters. So tell me this, right? Why do people need an audience to feel important in their lives? And it's crazy, right? Why I'm saying all this? Because you got so many people, right, that confuse a lot of people for, how can I say, what you call them, trolls, instigators, drama queens. And a lot of us ain't that. Right, a lot of us are out here to really bring a message. We don't mind, the comedy, the roasting, the jokes, and stuff like that. Like, hey, we do it ourselves, right? But people on this drum say, right, oh, I'm about this, I'm about that, but can't handle one simple criticism, one simple opinion. The only way they can handle it is if it fits their narrative, right? But let's bring it back to the schools, right? Because this is where it gets dangerous when you close schools and in black and brown neighborhoods, when you overcrowd classrooms, when you, how can I say, overwhelm teachers, when you strip resources, when you erase history, you're not just hurting education, right? You're shaping the future, right? You're deciding who gets opportunities and who gets obstacles. You're deciding who gets knowledge and who gets confusion. You're deciding who gets a chance, right? And who gets left behind. So let me ask y'all, why do we, I'm not going to say we, all right? Why do they always experiment on our kids like, they're disposable? What is this? Who the fuck is this? Yo, the scam likely is trying hard. All right, back on topic. My bad. And what's crazy is they got the nerve, all right, to celebrate Black History Month like everything is sweet. They post their, little quotes, their little graphics, their little "we honor the legacy" speeches. Meanwhile, they're closing the very schools, where that legacy should be taught. They want, how can I say, aesthetics, right, of Black history, not the accountability of it. They want the feel good version, not the real version. They want the sanitized version, not the revolutionary one. So let me ask y'all, how you celebrate a history you keep trying to erase? And this is why I don't do these, I don't do pagan holidays, right? And I mean it. All these holidays, people don't even peep it, right? And I consider all holidays, they say, all this should be celebrated every day. And I'm not mad at the fact that we have a day to honor certain things, right? But it's like they try to twist it, erase it, and it's like they try to manipulate you through it. I don't celebrate no holidays, Christmas, New Year's, right? The 4th of July, right? Like I say, happy, whichever holiday to whoever celebrates the holiday. But at the end of the day, I don't celebrate none, right? And we should know about our history. We should be able to celebrate our roots and stuff like that, right? But until we do it the right way, I don't participate in none of these things that they do. I really don't. I talk about, what I talk about. I dive down rabbit holes, right? And we learn and we pass that knowledge down. Here on social media, man, I don't like debating people, and I don't get tired of saying that, man. I want to have conversations, all right? Conversations that can build nations, all right? Well, I want to bring solutions to the table. But it's like people are so focused on, how can I say, the drama and the bullshit. That's why I don't pay attention to everybody. And some people think I may ignore, the comments and stuff like that. I really don't, right? It's just that I like to, get out what I want to get out, right? And then pay attention to the comments. But because sometimes it be just nothing but trolls, all right? Now, when we have some, serious people talking, people that, really care about the solutions, that really think that something could be done, then those are the conversations that I'll sit here. I'm like, all right, this is worth having. Some people, you just can't sit here and have a conversation with them, right? It's like on this John, right? I was going to say shout out to whoever, was the first person on this chat. But nah, I don't see the point because it seems like they're a troll. Like when you're constantly repeating a message like that. But listen, at the end of the day, everything we talked about, the schools, the taxes, the history, the online chaos, the, family betrayal, how can I say, it all comes down to one thing, truth. Who tells it, who hides it, who twists it, and who benefits from it, and who suffers because of it. Like, I'm tired of watching our kids get robbed of, their future while adults get robbed of their integrity. So let me ask y'all one last thing. All right. And I'm gonna keep asking questions every time I say something. All right. Because it's like I like asking periodic questions. I like getting people's input, all right, their opinions. We're not here to judge or badge. You see where I'm coming from? But like I just like getting y'all perspectives, right? And a lot of this has helped me, through a lot of things, right? Through when I speak to a politician, when I'm trying to do something for the community, because a lot of people do make good points. You see where I'm coming from? But at the end of the day, right, it is unity that we're missing. And a lot of us don't have it. So I'm tired of watching people, lie to survive while the system lies to control. I'm tired of watching our kids get robbed of their future while adults get robbed of their integrity. And I'm not going to get tired of saying it. But, you can only help those that want to be helped, right? So let's talk about, these school closure, right? The school closure madness, right? Because Philly got us living in the, how can I say, empty versus full paradox, right? And it's wild when you really think about it, right? Like one side of the city schools are shutting down because they claim low enrollment or poor building conditions. But on the other side, kids are learning in hallways, stairwells, closets, right? Anywhere they can squeeze a desk, all right? How you got empty schools and overcrowded schools at the same time? That's not a coincidence, right? That's a strategy. So let me ask y'all, how can a city be broke and overflowing at the same time unless somebody lying about the math? And that's the best way I can put it. All right, because we have to watch what we say here on social media. We really do. Like, even though they say it's freedom of speech, a lot of us are censored, especially when we monetize, right? And let's be real, right? Is your local school closing down, or is it so packed you know your child got to fight for a seat like it's a music, how can I say, like it's musical chairs? Because that's what's happening out here. Some neighborhoods losing schools like they're losing teeth, while others are, how can I say, bursting at the seams. And the district keeps acting like this is normal. Ain't nothing normal about this, right? Normal shit. Like, this is what happens when leadership plays favorites with zip codes. So tell me this. Why do certain neighborhoods get low enrollment excuses while others get overcrowded chaos? We was discussing this in the community the other day because it's true. If certain areas get more attention while others don't, and people be like, "Oh, that only happens," they're going to treat the suburbs. Is it that true? Huh? Because even though I'm gonna say the Northeast is the area is a little much nicer, right? And they wouldn't consider it the hood, but it's still hood there. And that's why I'm saying that no matter what area you're in Philadelphia, all of it is hood unless you're going towards the outskirts of Philadelphia. People think I'm crazy, and it took me a minute to peep that out. Like, and like, listen, we've been lied to and manipulated so long that we just say what we've been told. But anyways, all right. Now let's talk about the quality of education and safety, right? Because overcrowded classrooms ain't just enrollment, right? My bad. I don't even know why I said enrollment. They're not just inconvenient. All right, they're, how can I say, they're dangerous. Teachers burning out faster than candles, all right, at a vigil. Kids not getting attention, lessons rushed, behavior issues ignored, and the district expects teachers to manage 35 to 50 kids like they're superheroes. My daughter's in third grade, and her class, is shoved into a fourth grade. Almost 50 kids in one third grade class and fourth grade class put together. In her class, and you know what's crazy? 30 to 50 kids in one space. Because the old classroom is falling apart. 50 kids in one room. Baby. Baby. That's not a class, all right? That's a concert. So let me ask y'all, how can a child learn when the classroom feels like a packed club with no DJ? And I'm not gonna get no responses now, but for those of you that do catch the replay, man, I would love to hear your comments, your opinions in the comment section down below. All right, and let's get the conversation started. All right, and don't forget the safety issues. All right, overcrowded hallways, limited exits, emergency routes blocked. All right, kids shoulder to shoulder trying to move through the building. All right, like they're in a, how can I say, stampede. And then the district want to talk about safety protocols. What protocols? Right? You can't protocol your way out of a fire hazard. And when something goes wrong, they'll blame the teachers, the parents, the kids, everybody except the people who created the goddamn mess. So let me ask y'all, how can a school be safe when it's literally overflowing past capacity? We've got so many solutions to put on the table, but people don't want to listen. They out here, well, I'm fighting for Trump. I hate Trump. We got to get him out of office. Well, I'm on Trump's side. I'm saying, hell, like, man, fuck that. Red or blue, man, we fighting for crumbs, man. Listen, and let's talk resources, all right? Or the lack of them, all right? Fewer computers, fewer textbooks, all right, fewer chairs, fewer everything, one-on-one time. Like, there's not going to be no more one-on-one time with these teachers and the students trying to, the kids that actually need the extra support. Teachers barely got time to breathe, let alone give individualized attention. And then the district want to talk about achievement gaps. All right. The only gap is the one between what our kids need and what the city refuses to provide. So tell me this, how can we expect excellence when the system keeps giving our kids leftovers? And I said this yesterday. All right. But here's the part people don't want to talk about. School closures, right? School closures ain't just about buildings. They're about communities. They're about neighborhoods. When a school closes, the soul of that neighborhood gets ripped out. Kids gotta, travel further. Parents lose a safe place, for their children. The community loses an identity. And once a school closes, all right, how can I say the disinvestment cycles begin? Property values drop, businesses leave, crime rises, and the city pretends it doesn't know why. So let me ask y'all, what happens to what happens to neighborhoods? What happens to neighborhoods when the heart of it gets shut down? All right. And, let's highlight the impact because it's deeper than people think. All right. Longer communities for kids, some walking through unsafe areas just to get to class, loss of community identity, the school that raised generations suddenly gone. And the same zip codes, all right, keep getting hit over and over. It's always the same neighborhoods, the same families, the same communities paying the price. So let me ask y'all, why do some zip codes always end up carrying the heaviest burden? Now let me put a solution to, on the table. Just an idea, but something worth thinking about. What if instead of closing schools and overcrowding others, we merged two smaller schools into one, right, high-tech building? What if we, repurpose closed buildings into community centers, youth hubs, or affordable housing instead of letting them rot? What if we reinvest instead of abandon? Because the problem ain't the kids, all right? It's the leadership. And if they won't, imagine better, then we still, all right, then we will. So let me ask y'all one more question. Are we ready to demand solutions, or are we going to let the city keep playing musical chairs with our children's future? Am I tripping? Am I asking the wrong questions? I'm hoping that I'm asking the right ones because they feel like legitimate, questions that should be answered. But I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. All right. And let me, let's take a quick little break real quick. And then we're going to get right into the next topic. All right. I want to talk about the erasure of Black History Month, all right, in Philly.
In the old days, love was pure and true. Now it's just a show for all to view. People use it for their own gain, leaving hearts in sorrow and pain. Once a sacred bond, now just a game. Hearts are broken, never quite the same. Love used to be a beacon bright, now it's lost in the shadows of the night. Oh, how we long for those days of yore, when love was honest forevermore. But now it's twisted, tainted and cruel, leaving us drowning in an endless pool. What can we do? In the spiritual world, all seems bright, but shadows lurk in the dead of night. Half of humanity wears a wicked guise, evil deeds hidden behind virtuous eyes. Beneath the surface, a darkness lies, masks of deceit veiling their lies. In this realm where good and evil collide, the line between them is blurred, hard to decide. So tread carefully in this world so grand, for not all that glitters is gold in the sand. In the spiritual realm where illusions endure, evil and good dance in eternal obscure. Just imagine that. Karma doesn't ask you how you want it, it just comes and take it. So be careful how you treat others on your way up the ladder, cause your way down, trust me. In a world of empty stares, fake love fills the air. Sincerity's distant glare, leaving hearts in deep despair. Truth is lost in a web of lies, hiding behind deceitful eyes. Love that fades and slowly dies, leaving us with heavy sighs. Aching souls in a loveless land, yearning for a genuine hand, but fake love rules with cruel demand, leaving us to understand. In this age of like and retweets, we've forgotten what real love truly means. It's not just about show and tell, but a feeling that makes our hearts swell. It's hard to know who's true and who's fake in a world where appearances are hard to shake. But real love is deeper than a profile pic. It's in the way that someone makes your soul click. So let's not get lost in the digital haze. Let's remember what real love truly conveys. It's not about followers or online fame, but a connection that sets our hearts aflame. In this world of make-believe, they all wear a smile. But behind the scenes, it's just the clever guys, puppets in their show, dancing in their stage. We're all just pieces of their charade. Beneath their mask of joy lies the tangled web, where secrets and deceits are carefully bred. Their lovey-dovey act is just for display. We're all caught up in their twisted play. So let's break free from this illusion so grand and see through the facade with hearts unplanned. No longer pawns in their game of charade. Let's find our own path and not be swayed. I feel like I'm surrounded with people with strings attached to their back, waiting for their master's command. It's like when I was little, right, and I was reading Pinocchio. Every time that he told a lie, his nose grew. It's just that, in real life, their noses don't grow. Karma just catches. In the shadows we see, a love so pure and meek, but all that's left is a ghostly echo, a memory bleak, longing for a bond that's true in this world so cold and weak, yearning for the love we knew before the all turned antique, lost in illusions of affection, fleeting like the mist, hollow hearts yearn for connection, any realm dismissed, seeking solace in echoes of the past where love truly exists, but all we find are mere reflections of what loved ones kissed. Amidst the ruins of our hearts, we search for something real, yet all we grasp are faded echoes of what used to appeal in this world where love has become just a commodity to steal. It's just a little food for thought.
All right, y'all. Let's talk about, this Black history erasure that's happening right here in Philly. Because, baby, it's not, it's not subtle. It's not accidental. And it damn sure ain't new. Philly been playing this game for decades. Erase, rewrite, sanitize, repeat, sanitize, all right, repeat. And now, we're watching it happen again in 2026. Right in front of our faces, they're removing exhibits about, the 9 enslaved people George Washington held at the president's house. The same spot where it happened, right? The same ground where, those people lived, worked, suffered, resisted. And the fact that they even tried to remove it tells you everything. So let me ask y'all, if they can erase slavery from the very place it happened, what else do you think they're willing to erase next? Right? And don't forget, right? Don't forget, Philly was the first major city to make African American history a graduation requirement back in 2005. That was a big deal, right? That was, that was a statement. That was Philly saying our kids deserve the truth. But now that legacy is under attack, right? State level rollbacks, pressure to, tone down culturally, relevant teaching, guidelines being rewritten, teachers being told to avoid controversial topics. Baby, how is the truth controversial? How is our history controversial? So tell me this. Why is the truth only a problem when it's our truth? My bad. Let me rephrase that. When it's our ancestors' truth. And let's talk about this president's house, all right, situation. Because, it's deeper than a few panels, all right, being removed. This is, national. This is a national legal fight, all right? A judge ordered the exhibits restored, meaning the law said, put the truth back. But the administration is appealing. What is y'all appealing? The truth? The fact that the existence of enslaved, the fact, the existence, right, of enslaved people. This is the cradle of liberty, right? Independence Mall, right? The place where freedom was supposedly born. And yet they're fighting to hide that part. They're hiding to hide the part where freedom wasn't for everybody. So let me ask y'all, how can a country claim liberty while fighting to hide the people it denied liberty to? Am I tripping? Am I going a little too far? Am I overthinking what I'm saying? And you know what's crazy? All right. This ain't the first time Philly tried to rewrite history. Remember the battle over, how can I say, the battle over the president's house years ago. They didn't want to acknowledge the enslaved people at first. The community had to fight, protest, demand, yell, organize, just to get the truth, all right, recognized. And now here we are again fighting the same fight. It's like history keeps looping because the people in power keep pressing rewind. So tell me this. Why do we have to fight harder for the truth than they fight to hide it? But I could be tripping. All right. And let's talk about the schools. All right. Because this ties right back into the erasure. When you close schools in black neighborhoods, in brown neighborhoods, when you overcrowd classrooms, when you strip resources, when you silence teachers, you're not just hurting education, you're controlling what gets taught. You're controlling what gets remembered. You're controlling what gets passed down. And now they're pressuring schools to avoid topics like the move on bombing, like the move bombing, systemic racism, redlining, police brutality, all the things that shaped Philly's reality. So let me ask y'all, how can our kids understand the present if they're not, if they're not allowed to learn the past? How can our kids understand the present if they're not allowed to learn the past? And the craziest part, they want, a sanitized version of history, a safe version, a neutral version. Baby, history was never safe. It was never neutral. It was violent, messy, painful, revolutionary, and real. But they want to turn it into a Disney movie. No villains, no accountability, no, uncomfortable truths, all right? Because people think that the captain and Peter Pan was really the villain, but when you really turn around and you look, Peter Pan never really wanted to grow the fuck up. But anyways, that's a topic for another day, all right? Like, how can I put this? They want to teach kids about freedom without teaching them who was denied it. They want to, teach about progress without teaching about the price. So tell me this, who benefits from a history that leaves out the harm? Yeah, it's violent, but it happened. And if we don't know about it, we don't know why it happened. And let me be honest. All right. This ain't about, all right. No, I'm gonna put it like this. Let's be honest. All right. This ain't about protecting kids. It's about protecting egos. All right. This is what it is about for them. Right. It's about protecting institutions. It's about protecting the image of a country that doesn't want to face its own reflection. People are waking up. Kids are learning the truth. But to them, if kids learn the truth, they start asking questions. They've been asking questions. We've been asking questions. They start challenging systems. They start demanding better. And that scares people. So let me ask y'all, why are they more afraid of educated children than they are, of, repeating the same mistakes? By doing all it's doing is opening more eyes up. And it's crazy. It's like, damn, it's fucked up that they have to, do these things for other people to start really waking up and seeing, really smelling the coffee. Cleaning the debris, out their eyes and seeing what's going on in front of them. At the end of the day, this is bigger than exhibits, bigger than textbooks, bigger than curriculum changes. This is about the future of our, stories, our ancestor stories. If they erase our ancestors' past, our past, they erase our power. If they rewrite our history, they rewrite our identity, our ancestors' identity. And if we don't, fight back, they'll keep doing it until our children grow up not knowing who they came from. All right, what we survived and what we've built. So let me ask y'all, are we going to let them rewrite our history, or are we going to protect it like it, like our lives depend on it? Because they do. All right, it took me forever to even figure out that, I come from Taino roots, that I come from the Arawak tribe. Why? Because a lot of that was hidden. Man, before we keep going, let me, before we go any further, let me break down, let me break something down for anybody who might be confused. Because when we talk about Philly rewriting or erasing Black history, this is one of the biggest examples. All right. The move, the move bombing. All right. The move bombing wasn't, some little incident. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't a mistake. All right. It was a city, it was the city of Philadelphia dropping a literal bomb. Yes, a real bomb on a Black neighborhood in West Philly. And the fact that so many people still don't know the full story tells you, how deep the erasure goes. So let me ask y'all, how can a whole city bomb its own people and still act like it's never happened? Ooh, I'm about to get deeper into that. Oh shit, we got Young Riaz in the building. We got Young Riaz in the building. Shout out to Young Riaz. All right. Listen, I want to put this on before we get into that, because I'm about to go a little deep into this. All right. I'm not going to be too long into it, but I'm about to, speak a little bit about the move bombing, because a lot of people don't speak about it. And it happened right here in Philadelphia. And I think a few people had asked me to do a live on it. But you know who I'm going to do the live with, and he told me he's going to do it. So I'm going to schedule that live. I got to schedule that live. I know I have to schedule that one, and I'm not going to miss it because I'm going to do it with my fiance. He knows a little more about the move bombing. So we're going to do a live on that, breaking that down a little bit more, that what I'm going to do today. All right. But give me 1 second, because I got to do something for my daughter, and I'll be right back. And, we're going to talk about the move bombing real quick. And, keep speaking about what's happening here in Philadelphia.
Religiously, understand the 7 principles of hell. You understand the 7 demons within you. You understand the whole concept. It's a whole metaphysical concept. We ain't go over that, but anyway, so.
Oh, my bad. All right. Now, let's talk about, let's talk about what really happened, right? Move was a Black liberation, right? Black to, nature. How can I say? It was a communal group that had long conflicts with the city, right? Tensions built for years. Instead of, de-escalating, instead of negotiating, instead of, handling things like human beings, the city decided to go full military mode. On May 13, all right, according to my research, on May 13, 1985, police flew a helicopter over a row house and dropped a, how can I say, I can't pronounce the name right, a satchel, I think it's called, if I'm not mistaken, satchel bomb, all right, filled with hot explosives onto the roof. A bomb on a home in a residential neighborhood. So tell me this, what kind of government uses war tactics on its own citizens? Right? Like, the bomb was set, how can I say, the bomb set the house on fire, right? And here's the part that still makes my stomach turn. Officials, right? Officials intentionally let the fire burn. They didn't, how can I say, they didn't try to put it out. They didn't try to save the people inside. They let it burn, all right, until the whole block was gone. 61 homes destroyed. 250 people left homeless. Even, how can I say, 11 people killed, including 5 children. And the city still tried to justify it. So let me ask y'all, how do you justify letting children burn alive? And after all that destruction, all that death, all that trauma, guess what happened? A commission later, all right? A commission later called the city's actions, all right? How can I say unconscionable? Unconscionable. Unconscionable means morally disgusting, right? But even with that label, even with all that evidence, even with the whole world watching, nobody was criminally charged. Not one person, not one official, not one officer. So tell me this. What does justice even mean if nobody is held accountable for a mass death? Don't it kind of sound familiar? The Epstein case, kind of, in a way. But You can't even connect the two. Because this is happening to just black and brown citizens. Right? But where I connect the two is in how they try to hide. Right? Why ain't the leadership doing what they're supposed to do? The law's been in place. Oh, is President Trump is just a puppet with a string. Who people call, him or whoever is going to be the next president, or whoever is running for blue, black or blue. You're going to be my master. You're going to be my master. That's all he is. All right. He's just a man playing the game. And this is why I keep saying, all right, Philly has a long history of trying to erase, rewrite, or sanitize the truth, because if they can't bomb a black neighborhood, if they can bomb, all right, if they can bomb a black neighborhood, kill children, destroy homes, and then, sweep it under the rug, like it was a minor incident, what else have they erased? What else have they, softened up? What else have they rewritten to protect themselves? So let me ask y'all, how many stories, have we lost? Have we lost because the people in power didn't want them told? And I hope they don't track my page for this, but man, look, listen, just in case, all right? Just in case, give me 1 second, just in case, because listen, I have a feeling, all right? I lost my first page because of this. It's my mouth. But I'm tired. Like, listen, I'm not going to keep, I'm tired of being censored. This world is crazy. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use allows limited use of copyrighted material without permission from the copyright holder for purposes such as criticism, parody, news reporting, research, and scholarships and teaching. Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this video or any video, including the Writers for Life Brings You to Let's Talk About It podcast, do not reflects on the opinions of y'all shorty Racheal and the members of the Writer for Life podcast. Everything we talk about is allegedly and is our opinion. Our videos are not recommended for minors. Everything we talk about and do is meant for educational purposes and also entertainment. Please keep in mind that the majority of our videos are for educational purposes only. This world is crazy. I would say shady. Ironic, right? Nowadays, you can't trust no one. When you do, niggas be having their panties all in a bunch, thinking that they own one. Saying the things that you accomplished in life is theirs and that you owe them one. So, once again, the question is, how many stories, all right, have we lost because the people in power didn't want, them told? And, now in 2026, we're watching the same pattern repeat with the, with the president's house. With the president's house exhibits being removed, all right? The panels are about the 9 enslaved people George Washington held right here in Philadelphia, right? The federal government literally ordered the truth taken down. A judge said, put it back. And the administration is appealing. Appealing what? The truth, the fact, the existence of enslaved people. So tell me this, if they can erase slavery from, the place it happened, what chance does the move bombing have, of being, taught honestly? All right. And let's not forget, once again, Philly was the first major city to require African-American history for graduation back in 2005. That was a big step. All right. That was progress. That was pride. But now, the legacy is under attack. Schools being pressured to avoid, controversial topics like the move bombing, systemic racism, the move bombing, redlining, the move bombing. Anything that makes the city look bad. They want a clean version of history, not the real one. So let me ask y'all, why do they want our kids to learn fairy tales instead of facts? At the end of the day, the move bombing is not just a story, right? It's a warning. It's a reminder of what happens when a city decides, decides certain lives don't matter, right? It's a reminder of how easily history can be erased if we don't protect it. And it's a reminder that, the truth is only safe when we tell it, not when we wait for institutions to do it. So let me ask y'all, are we ready to protect our history with the same energy, all right, they used to erase it? I mean, only we can answer that, right? Listen, Philly led the nation in 2005 when we said, nah, our kids deserve the truth, right? And made African American history a graduation requirement. That was bold, right? That was leadership. That was us, how can I say, setting the standard, right, for the whole country. But now it feels like we're being dragged backwards. Like somebody hit the rewind button on progress. All these rollbacks, all right, all this, how can I say, censorship, all this pressure to, how can I say, sanitize the truth. All right, it is given regression, not education. So let me ask y'all, how does a city, go from leading the nation, all right, to acting scared of its own history? Because let's be honest, rewriting history always starts the same way. All right, they shrink it, they reduce it, they water it down until it's barely, how can I say, recognizable. Suddenly, Black history becomes a highlight reel of the same 2 or 3 names, right? Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and maybe maybe Harriet Tubman, all right? If they're feeling a little generous. But where are the community organizers, the neighborhood activists, the local heroes, the everyday people who fought, resisted, built, and survived? So tell me this. Why do they only want to teach the dream, but never the fight it took to get there? Right? And that's the trick. All right. When you only teach, how can I say, the safe heroes, you erase the power of, the people. You erase the movements. You erase the rebellions, right? You erase the strategies. You erase the truth that change, that change didn't come from one speech or one bus ride. It came from communities rising up together. All right. They want to teach us about the dream, but not the nightmares. All right. We had to survive. Well, our ancestors, all right, our leaders had to survive, all right, to even imagine one. So let me ask y'all, why are they so afraid of us knowing our own power? We know the answers to this, right? But man, we just trying to have a conversations that build nations, all right? And I'm going to have this, whether there's anybody watching, listening, all right? I want to still talk about it. And for those of y'all that, do catch the replay, man, leave your comments down below. Leave your, leave your opinions. Let us shorty know what you think and how you feel. And let's get this conversation started, all right? And here's the part that hurts the most, all right? When majority Black schools close, is not just a building shutting down, all right? It's the physical archives disappearing, the murals painted by generations, all right? The trophies, the photos, the stories, the memories, the legacy, all right? When school closes, a neighborhood loses a piece of its soul. And the city acts like it's just, a budget decision. But hey, it's just a building. I mean, how can I say, it's not just a building, right? It's a history book made of brick. So let me ask y'all, what happens when a community, right? What happens to a community when its history gets boarded up and sold off? I can't see who's that. I gotta come over here. Blessings. Shout out to Mike Turner. Blessings. Shout out to anybody coming in. Blessings to everybody coming in. All right. And I know these are, how can I say, touchy, conversations, all right? A lot of people, but I'm not here to debate. I'm here to bring solutions to the table. I know a lot of people know this, right? That's the reason why I bring up these provocative questions, because in between everything I have said, I've put solutions to the table, but it's up to us, right, to bring back, listen, when we talk about Malcolm X, right, what's crazy? That people only say, oh, by any means necessary. But y'all didn't hear the part, right? It is a few things, right? He gave us a blueprint. We need unity, all right? We need land, all right? There's a few more things right now, but I got all these things in my head, and I was just saying it to my baby pops yesterday. We were just talking about it, all right? Like, we need a whole bunch of things that I don't think a lot of people is ready for. But there are some people coming together trying to build, little small organizations. That's the start of it. A lot of organizations teaming up with each other. You see where I'm coming from? Not stepping on each other's toes, all right? Trying to build with each other, networking and building. I've noticed that, going to, a lot of these meetings, actually speaking to people, networking and building. You got to mix and mingle a little bit out here. I mean, well, no, you got to mingle, not mix. There you go. You gotta mingle, not mix. I said that wrong. All right. And I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Facts. It's sad. All this stuff that's happening is really sad. All right. And you know what's crazy? Listen, let's talk about how strategic this is. All right. Like I said, when you close schools in black neighborhoods, you're not just disrupting education, you're erasing identity. All right. You're wiping a neighborhood, off the map. You're removing the place, the place where kids learned, parents gathered, elders volunteered, and culture lived. And when they wonder why communities feel disconnected, baby, you disconnected them. You uprooted them. You erased the foundation. So tell me this: why do the same zip codes always get hit with the same losses? And I'm not going to get tired of saying it. All right, we're going through it right here in Philadelphia. I've spoken to a whole lot. I got her little card right here. Do I got all my cards right here? Listen, man, this is a shorty I've been talking to, not shorty. All right, a woman. All right, I'm gonna say it like that because people are gonna confuse shorty and shorty. We just two midgets. That's it. That's all it is. Like they call me shorty, I call her a little shorty too because she's short as shit, just like me. Oh my God, I got all these cards. I gotta find it. I got her card right here. Her name is Elizabeth, right? Liz, and she's a coordinator here in Philadelphia, and she deals with kids and stuff like that, right? I mean, she's got the same ideas as me as another person, right? Goes to my daughter's school. I've seen him in other meetings here in different parts of Philadelphia, right? Through somebody that I knew that was sitting here, trying to make a difference within our communities, right? And I saw this guy again in my daughter's school, and now we talk and trying to do something different to help the youth within our communities. But people are saying, hey, ain't nobody out here trying to help. Yes, there is. There are organizations out here that are putting things out of their own pockets, right? They're starting from the ground up because it's like, nah, man, like people are giving up, and I understand why some people give up, but then the ones that are just giving up is because they've got caught red-handed doing some crazy shit. Now you've got others giving up because it's like, oh man, look, man, we can't do nothing because of this is happening over here, right? Then let's not even talk about how President Trump kept his promise about not funding any of these how can I say grassroots programs, all right, which are out here helping our youth. You see where I'm coming from? And as y'all can see, listen, if y'all have been watching me, you know that I don't hate Trump. I don't have nothing against Trump, all right? I don't know if what they're accusing him of is true, all right? I'm not in his business. Now, if it's proven, if it's in black and white that he's, how can I say, say the right words, a PDF file, which I don't know because when a woman is grown and stuff like that, it's a little different. But if it was proven that he's a predator, then, here, man, we build caskets for predators. And I'll be looking at him just like every other predator. But until I don't have nothing in my hands, I can't just accuse a man knowing that men have been wrongfully accused of certain things. And I know he's up there, right? Like the man has talked about grabbing, coochies and shit like that. But at the end of the day, that's not the topic right now. My whole point is that I really don't know if he's, done the things that he's been accused of, right? In the files, right? They talk of him. All right, they don't place him in the room where the victims are at and much more. I mean, I can go deeper into that, but right now we're not talking about the Epstein shit. Right? I mean, and listen, y'all know over here we expose these predators, but I don't know, something off with this Epstein thing, and I'm not sure what it is, and I can't pinpoint it right now. So when more stuff comes out, then we'll get on it. Then we'll talk about it. All right? But like I was saying, all right, a lot of this stuff is strategic, all right? And the wild part is, they always try to make, all this sound logical, right? They say that it's about low enrollment, poor conditions, budget constraints. But who created those conditions? Who ignored the repairs? Who underfunded the schools? Who let the buildings rot? And, and now they want to, blame the community for the consequences of their neglect. It's like burning down a house and then saying, well, nobody lives there anymore. So let me ask y'all, how can they justify closing schools they intentionally starved? I mean, they wasn't getting funded. They wasn't getting the resources they needed. And you've had parents out here fighting, you know, and know what they got to do. I'm one of those parents. I got a petition now here, all right, to get cameras in our schools so that we can, it's not just about the kids being bullied, right? It's to see, what's really happening within these classrooms, right? And shout out to the parents that are signing it. A lot of us parents got it together. Some parents already got the petitions in. All right, I'm on this second petition. Hopefully we can get more signatures to get more cameras, deeper backgrounds and stuff like that. But it helps not just the students, but it helps the teachers. Right? We are the voice that our kids have until they turn a certain age. Right? Like, listen, I've talked about this time after time, right? And, I've offended some parents, but I feel as though the parents that I have offended are the ones that, how can I say, are neglectful or cover up the bullshit like that, right? And as crazy as it sounds, right? Because if what I'm saying, right, it's truth and it's facts, why are you offended? Because I'm just talking about the changes that we should be making and that we could make if we come together, but we're missing something, right? And it's funny, I keep bringing back Malcolm and not Martin, right? For a reason. Yesterday, I was saying, right, it's funny because when they brought out all this stuff about Malcolm and Martin, MLK, everybody went crazy, right? Like, they went bizarre. And I'm sitting here, I was like it was expected, right? And that's why I always tell people, it's like with Martin, I don't know. I liked it, Martin, right? But I for some reason, I felt like Malcolm was a little more real, more honest, right? And it wasn't even about the by any means necessary. It's like when they started saying, oh, Malcolm was doing this, I'm like, he never denied his past. I mean, it's in the movies, it's in the documentaries, it's everywhere. It's like listening to how he was, you could picture how he was, he was part of the, come on, man, you could say he was revolutionary, right? But Martin was with me, was like, and then as I got older, now I know why, I wasn't sold with Martin. And it was because it's like y'all softened Martin to make him look this big hero, covered up his past. Whereas in Malcolm, it was out there. Like, come on, people didn't even peep that in The Godfather of Harlem, all right, they bring up Martin in the books and everything. I mean, not Martin, Malcolm, all right? And if he had a past with The Godfather of Harlem and everything, like, what does that tell y'all? Like, come on, like, he had a past in the streets. Like, you can see the gangster in Malcolm. Like, as crazy as it is, right? But like I said, how can they justify closing schools, right? They intentionally starve. And when those schools are closed, the history inside them disappears too. The murals get painted over, the archives get tossed, the stories get forgotten, the neighborhoods, loses its anchor. And the kids get, scattered across the city like their history never mattered. And that's the point. If you erase the past, you weaken the future. If you erase the roots, the tree can't grow. So let me ask y'all, how do we protect our history when the buildings that, hold it keep disappearing? They're already getting rid of libraries. Everything is digital now, and then that gets twisted up and, manipulated. So, at the end of the day, all right, this ain't just about education. It's about memory. It's about identity. It's about power. When they rewrite history, they rewrite who we are, right? When they close schools, they close chapters of our story. And if we, don't fight, to preserve it, our kids will grow up learning a version of history that was edited to make other people comfortable. So let me ask y'all this, right? Are we going to let them shrink our story, or are we going to fight to keep every chapter alive? Why I'm saying this, right? People not noticing the schools that are closing down are schools that are starting to teach Black history. The real history. They're not sugarcoating it. They're really teaching it. I'm sitting here, I was like, am I the only one noticing this pattern? But I'm not. And shout out to the ones that are noticing the pattern. The ones that are speaking up, like, listen, there's a lot going on. All right. So with that being said, all right, I'm going to take a quick little break. All right. And I want to talk about facts, Mike Turner. I'm going to leave this right here. All right. And I'm going to talk about something real quick, right? Because I haven't touched on the Glorilla and Brorilla story. Shout out to SBK, all right, and the Tap On podcast, right? Because they was live yesterday and they hit on it, all right, and they made a great, They made a great talking point, right? They made a few great talking points about this situation. But since I haven't been able to hit it, and I'm going to have to push tonight's live into probably tomorrow. And, you know, I'll speak a little bit of what I just said tomorrow on it. But I want to get it out there because there's a lot of people asking me. They're like, well, haven't I done a live? But listen, there's a reason, because I feel as though these topics are more important, right, than speaking about Glorilla and Brorilla. But I'm about to hit on it real quick, all right? So, and it's crazy, right? The reason I'm going to hit on it because I'm about to touch on, you know, YouTube drama, online drama, picking sides, exposing family online, you know, and all that. I'm about to touch on that, all right? So give me 1 minute. And we're about to get on that, all right? Hey, I did my first live without no videos, yo. That's because I did the videos yesterday, and we still got to finish the meeting, the reviewing and reacting to this meeting, yo. So give me a second.
In this world of blame and shame, we point fingers, we play the game. But as our children cry in fear, we turn the blind eye, we shed no tears. Believe our women, they say, while our kids are led astray. Lost in darkness, lost in pain, yet their cries fall silent like the rain. It's a shame how far we've come, blaming all the men playing dumb. But our children need us near to wipe their tears and calm their fears. In this land of the free, water's a commodity for you and me. Can't you see? It's not fair, it's plain to see. People struggling to pay for something they need every day. In America where we say we're free, but water shouldn't come at a fee. A shorty just speaking in general about the things that seem so small. This ain't meant towards everyone, just a cry in the dark. In America where water is marked. Brothers and sisters, hear my plea. This is not about you or me. Our kids are the future, they hold the key. Wake up before we're met with defeat. In this world of chaos and strife, we must guide them to a better life. Teach them love, compassion, and light, so they can lead us out of this endless night. Let's unite as one strong force. For our children, let's stay on course. Together we can make a change and secure a better future in exchange. Y'all should have listened the first time they let the cat out the hat. Now it's a crime. Many are falling into a trap, thinking it's a game, but they full of cap. Some are ready and fully strapped, while others keep falling into the gap. The warning signs were clear as day, but some chose not to heed what they say. Now the consequences come to light. Those who ignored are in for a fight. Listen close and learn from this mishap. Don't be caught unaware, don't fall into the trap. From the wisdom of my elders I learned women are strong, independent and firm. But sometimes we need a helping hand to conquer challenges and make a stand. Independence is crucial, that's true. Yet together with a man we can pursue. Respect yourself first and foremost, so others will treat you like the most. Ladies growing up, remember this advice. You're capable of anything you devise, but partnership and respect go hand in hand. Embrace your strength and make a stand. Memories of the past I couldn't see, now I understand. The wisdom they gave me, respect yourself first, that's the key. To earn respect from others is how it should be. A man's worth measured by how he treats his queen. Love and romance in the air, a beautiful scene. A woman's power to uplift or demean. In her hands lies a man's dream. Lessons learned from an OG so true. In matters of the heart, they know what to do. Love and respect intertwined like glue. In a world where old-fashioned values still ring through. Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan was a fairy tale. Now males want to be females without fail. Women want to be a man, it's a twisted tale. Flipping scripts and roles, they set sail. Fighting for roles, turning to moles. Making hits with their agenda goals. Targeting our kids, it takes a toll. To them it's a bliss, to us it's a black hole. They ain't trying to miss. Their agenda is the ultimate twist. Infiltrating young minds with their list, but we won't let them persist. I'm with women's rights, but what about men's too? Equality for all, it's long overdue. We want progress, we need to see both sides. Blame and shame won't help us unite. Don't label him a deadbeat without looking in the mirror. Sometimes it takes two to create rupture. Let's have conversations that include everyone. Empathy and understanding, the battles can be won. Men face struggles too, let's not forget. Their mental health matters, let's not neglect. It's time to break down walls and build bridges instead. Together we can strive for equality ahead. You scream for the police every time he come around. Then scream child support abuse, playing victim in this town. Enjoy that check, boo, but remember what goes up must come down. The only time he's worthy is when he bails you out the mess you found. You play the game, manipulating hearts without a doubt, but karma's knocking at your door, there's no way out. You point fingers and shift the blame around, but in the end, it's your own chaos that you found. You dance with danger, living on the edge of lies, but the truth will catch up to you, no more disguise. The man you rely on to clean up your mess is so profound, will soon see through your facade and leave you astounded. Using a child as a weapon, it's a shame. A woman who lacks self-respect, I can't acclaim. Real men fighting for what they believe in, never in vain. Standing 10 toes down, bringing awareness to the pain. Respect is earned by how you carry yourself, not by tearing others down for personal wealth. Real men don't back down, they fight with honor and stealth against injustice and falsehoods that threaten our health. Let's uplift each other instead of tearing apart, supporting one another from the start. Real men stand tall with courage in their heart, fighting for justice and truth, playing their part. Here's for the men who share their truth, never afraid to stand tall in their boots, respecting our women, fighting for what's right, supporting our kids day and night. Real women out there blazing trails, men by their side never looking pale. Rights for all, let's keep the balance true. Men have a voice, let's listen to. In this crazy world where battles are fought, let's remember the men who give it all they've got. Respect to those who speak their stories loud. Together we stand strong and proud. Together we stand, united we'll rise, setting an example for young eyes. In every step we take, in every plan, guiding the next generation's hand. Leading by actions, not just by words, teaching them to fly like birds. Showing love and respect in all we do, for they're always watching, taking cues. Hand in hand, let's pave the way for a better tomorrow, starting today. Our children learn from what they see. Let's show them how great they can be. Let's be what our children need.
All right, y'all. Let's talk about, this online drama culture, because baby, people come on these apps acting like, like, how can I say, like there are no consequences, right? Like the internet is some lawless playground where they can say, and do whatever they want. Like I've seen people lose their lives over the pettiest things, right? Comments, jokes, misunderstandings, egos, bruises, all right? Like folks call themselves trolls like it's a, job title. Like they're, how can I say, dictators of chaos. Like they run something, meanwhile, they're just bored with Wi-Fi and no accountability. Let me ask y'all, like, when did the internet become the place where grown adults, how can I say, cosplay as villains for attention, right? And they don't just, cosplay as villains for attention, all right? They the hype man, right? And the hype women too, like, whew! They be on the comments, instigating like they're getting paid per, how can I say, argument. Some content creators even benefit from the drama, all right, until they fall. Because trust me, everybody who builds their platform on chaos eventually gets swallowed by it, right? That's why I don't, how can I say, pay too much attention to the bull. Right? I like a good roast. I like a good joke, but baby, that's rare now, all right? Everything goes left. Everything turns into a war. So tell me this, why does the internet turn, simple conversations into full-blown battles? This is why I don't, how can I say, hit a lot of platforms no more. This is why, how can I say, I don't take a lot of people serious no more on these platforms. I mean, on these apps like that, right? And it's crazy. People say, they want to talk, but what they really want is an audition, right? An audition for, a drama script. They want to be the star of their own telenovela. They want to perform, right? Not communicate. They want to argue, not understand. And I'm sitting here like, baby, right? I'm not your co-star. I'm not reading lines with you, right? I'm not joining your storyline. I'm not beefing with I'm not beefing with strangers who need a nap, all right? A therapist or a hug. So let me ask y'all, why do people treat social media like a stage instead of, a space to actually connect? But I could be tripping. All right. Why I'm saying this? Because during a serious topic the other day, I had some trolls on this John acting like, Oh, can't nobody do nothing? Can't we can't accomplish nothing. It's the end of the world. Let me tell you something. It ain't the end of the world. All right. Mankind made us appear. But the world is gonna be right here. Right here. And you know what's crazy? Then you got the ones who say they want to debate, right? But they really want to argue. They don't want a conversation. They want to fight. Right? They want to win, not learn. They want to dominate, not discuss. And that's why I always say I will debate a politician in town hall. All right, before I debate a mofo on this app who needs a babysitter, a priest, or their mama to help them. How can I say help them heal their wounds? So let me ask y'all, why debate someone who ain't even debating from, how can I say, from a healed place? I don't see the point in that. I could be wrong. All right. I could be tripping, but I can't debate people who are still hurting. You ain't healed yet. All right. So we're going to go in circles, Ain't nobody going to get nowhere. All right. People get mad because your opinion didn't fit their narrative. They didn't want, how can I say, they didn't want you to agree with them, validate them, echo them. And then the minute you don't, suddenly, all right, suddenly you're the enemy. Suddenly you're wrong, fake, problematic, right? Babe, no. I just don't, how can I say, think like you. A lot of us don't think like certain people. All right. We got our own minds. All right. I'm not bending my mind to fit your insecurities. And that's why I always say, if you're bleeding on the matrix, log off. Heal, then come back. All right. Then holler at me. So let me ask y'all, why do people expect the internet to fix wounds? All right, that they refuse to treat themselves? I could be tripping, but I ain't a doctor. I ain't no surgeon. I can't sit here and surgically, heal your wound. Right? I'm not a therapist. All right, I can't heal your mind. All right, even though they say the psychologist is better than I don't know. But anyways, look, listen, man, I'm not your mama. All right, and I'm not God to heal your bruises and the ego. All right, so, whew. With that being said, right, let's talk about, these fake victims, the ones who, start the drama, throw the rock, hide the hand, then cry online, right? Like, they innocent. I'm allergic to fake victims, right? I break out in hives. They stir the pot like, how can I say, light the match, flip the table. Then, hold on one second. Then run, to the internet talking about I'm being attacked. Babe, you attacked yourself. You created the mess. You pressed go live. So tell me this: why do people love, playing victim more than they love being accountable? All right, give me 1 second while I handle this call real quick. And this is happening a lot. Give me 1 second. I just gotta handle this quick call. Ooh, my bad. My bad. I had to answer that quick call. But listen, man, like I was saying, right? Why do people love to play, why do people love playing victim more than they love, how can I say, being accountable? And you know what's the saddest part, right? The saddest part about this is people don't even realize how much energy they waste picking sides and dramas that, don't pay them, don't feed them, don't heal them, and don't, how can I say, elevate them. They defend strangers but won't defend their own peace. They'll argue, for, how can I say, hours, but won't, how can I say, read a book. I could be wrong, but I'm not speaking about everybody, right? I'm speaking in general, all right? They won't even meditate, won't grow. So let me ask y'all, why do people invest more in online chaos than in their own real life healing? At the end of the day, I'm not here to pick sides. I'm not here to, how can I say, join cliques. I'm not here to argue with people who don't even like themselves. All right. I'm here to speak truth, build community, and keep my peace intact, because the internet will drain you. All right. They will drain you if you let them. All right. And it's crazy. I refuse to let strangers with unhealed wounds dictate my energy. Let me ask y'all, are you here to grow? Or are you here to perform for people who don't even know your real name? Half of these people on this, on this John don't even have a real name. They just have an avatar and a nickname. All right. Let's talk about this whole, how can I say, pick a side culture online? Because, people get mad at you for doing the same thing they do. They'll drag somebody, for behavior they literally did last week. It's like watching hypocrisy do backflips. Can y'all picture that? All right. And the way some of these folks, act, you think somebody hurt them so bad that they decided to start a cult. Like if you talk to them, right, you're out. I'm sitting here like, wait, what happened? You want me to worship you? You want me to kiss your feet? Do I look like what? Kevin Gates sucking toes? What's wrong with you? Like if you don't praise them, they'll say, I'll curse you out. Baby, who raised you? So let me ask you, how did social media turn, grown adults into, I'm sorry, cult leaders with Wi-Fi? I could be tripping, but sometimes deep down inside, I'm on this bitch like, oh shit, what's going on? I'm like, listen, I just want to change certain laws and policies to help my community and other communities, right? But you got mofos out here trying to be dictators like they in China and other places. Like, snap. I'll be like, here, catch your breath. It's okay. Catch your breath. Like, hey, take it easy. You'll be okay. That wound will heal tomorrow. I just can't be like that, God damn it. I'm going to tell you, like, shit, man, your shit stink. Like, shit, we got Uncle L in the building, man. Look on that belly, baby. We got Uncle L in the building, all right? Shout out to Uncle L, man. That's my Philly neighbor, all right? We ain't never meet each other in real life, but that's my next door neighbor, right? He right in Philly, all right? So, look on that belly, baby. But, like I was saying, how did social media turn grown adults into cult leaders with Wi-Fi, all right? It's like if you don't bow down, all right, it's off with your head on some real shit. Off with your head. Like, I didn't know I logged into Alice in Wonderland, all right? Let me tap my, glass slippers and wish myself back home. Oh, wait. That's the Wizard of Oz and the Cinderella mixed together. See? That's how chaotic this app is. Like, it got me mixing up fairy tales and shit. And honestly, that's what this place feels like sometimes. Like a Disney Wonderland full of characters fighting, for attention. So tell me, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be serious, but it's like lately, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this shit online is scripted. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Like, why do so many adults act like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, refusing to grow up, but demanding applause? Like, in the funniest part, right? These people swear they're the main characters. They swear, the world revolves around their drama. They swear everybody's watching them. Baby, ain't nobody watching you except the 3 or probably 50 trolls in your comments and, how can I say your burner account? But they, they'll still, try to force you to pick a side, like, you're signing a contract. Like, if you talk to them, you're fake. If you don't defend me, you're a snake. Girl, boy, like, whoever does this shit, like, calm down. Take a seat somewhere. Take a deep breath. All right, find the God or the goddess within you. All right, and then yoga with that. But let me ask y'all, when did having your own mind become a punishable offense online? Like, I could be tripping. Like, I don't know. And let's talk about, the family drama and exposing, like, woo! Real shit. Like, I went through that back in MySpace, all right, in my MySpace days. Real shit. I'm 36 right now, all right? When all this, oh, my God, you my sister, you're not supposed to do this. You little fucking Lilith in disguise. Who the fuck you think you is? I'ma show you. I'ma show you. I'ma prove you wrong. Like, she did this. Yeah. We did. I mean, I'm like, damn. I'm like, it's like right now, I feel like we're having some throwback Thursdays and some throwback, Fridays and some Taco Tuesdays. For real. All right? Like, and guess what? I outgrew that. I healed, I matured, I realized some things don't belong online. All right. But these folks, and it hasn't stopped. Some people have, stood in their habit. Some people have, outgrown it and matured. And they be like, no, man, some of this ain't meant for me to do online. I need to, figure this out offline, off the camera. It's like, but, some of these folks, they'll expose their mama, their cousin, their baby daddy, their whole bloodline for a few coins and a little attention. All right. They'll drag their own, family like strangers and then cry later like they didn't, start the fire. Let me ask y'all, how do you claim to love your family but throw them, to the wolves for views? Let's make it I can understand teenagers and kids doing this, but we're talking about grown ass folks, okay? Grown men and women, some of them with freaking children themselves. They have not matured. But they haven't matured, how can I say, mentally, all right, physically, all right, spiritually, all right, oh my God, I can't even get all the words out right now. Shit, I'm about to get all the 7 sins out, though. Snap, Rachel, get it together. Like, and the wildest part is, right, they'll say money don't buy me, but baby, they sell them they soul for free. They'll expose their trauma, their secrets, their kids, their relationships, all for a moment of clout. And then when the internet turns, on them, suddenly they're the victim. Suddenly they're, crying. Suddenly they want sympathy. Nah, you wanted attention and you got it. So tell me this. Why do people trade their dignity for digital applause? And then turn around and cry. Oh, somebody said this. Listen, if you want to feel, listen, this is why I say heal before you come on this app. Because if you're going to feel ashamed about what you said, you shouldn't have said it in the first place. People are going to come on this app and they're going to talk good or bad. It don't matter what you say. And you know what? Let's talk about maturity. Because mental health is real. And some people clearly ain't healed. Right? You can see the wounds through the screen. All right. They bleeding on the, how can I say, on the timeline, bleeding in the comments, bleeding in the, DMs. And then get mad when someone says, how can I say, when someone says something they don't like. That's why I always say, if you're bleeding on the matrix, log off, man. Heal, then come back. Then come holler at whoever you got to come holler at, because some of y'all, need a therapist, not a live stream. Why do people expect strangers online to fix wounds they refuse to, treat offline? It makes no sense. And, the debates, baby, I'm not debating nobody on this app who needs a babysitter or a priest or their mama to help them, process life. I'll debate a politician in town hall before I debate somebody online who can't even debate without yelling, cussing, or crying. All right. People don't want conversations. They want chaos. They want to win. They want to dominate. And I'm not playing that game. Why argue with people who don't, how can I say, who don't even argue, from a healed place? Once again, at the end of the day, I'm allergic to fake victims. I break out in hives, right? Fuck picking a side, right? I'm not joining nobody's clique, especially when it feels like a cult. Like when people just want you to worship, like you got to stay over here or it's off with your head, motherfucker. I didn't know we was playing fucking board games or Monopoly. I didn't know I was in a fairy tale somewhere in Disneyland playing with fucking Tinkerbell, Peter Pan, and the Wizard of Oz. All right? Like, this shit makes no sense. Like, I listen, the internet will drain you. And if you let it, it'll get you. All right? I refuse to let strangers, with unhealed wounds dictate my energy. All right? And if I have to meet somebody, I'll meet them because I lead myself up. I lead everything with respect. But when somebody comes disrespectful, man, boom, I disrespect them back. I'm going to leave them right there too. All right? I'm not going to leave my energy with them. Man, stay right where the fuck you at. All right. Think about what you said. Put your head down. All right. Like I tell my dog, think about it. And I'm out, man. And I've had people try me and still try me. see me in certain chats be like, oh, da, da, da. I'm like, I just laugh. I laugh. I don't even pay. Listen, I don't even say nothing back, but just laugh in the chat. Just laugh. Low laughing emojis. Because it's like, people want something that they know that in real life, in person, face to face, they couldn't handle. But, are y'all here to grow? Or are you here to, perform for people who didn't even know your real name today, yesterday, or ever? You see where I'm coming from? Right? And we can go deeper into this whole, pick a side culture. Because, it's not just drama. It's psychology. People online want you to pick a side because they don't know who they are without a crowd behind them. Right? They need validation like oxygen. Right? They need argument. Yeah, they need an argument like medicine. And the minute you don't fall in line, something that you're the villain in a story you didn't even audition for. Right? It's wild how folks will turn a disagreement into a declaration of war. So let me just say this. Like, no, let me ask y'all. Like, why do people need, a tribe to think, right, for them instead of thinking for themselves? And I don't know if y'all peep, certain questions are just asked in different ways, right? I mean, they're still provocative, but sometimes I repeat them just in a different form. Maybe somebody didn't understand me, right, the last time. And what's the craziest part? They get mad at you for doing the exact same thing they do, right? They gossip, but if you gossip, you're fake. Right? They'll block people, but if you block them, you're scared. Then, they'll talk slick. Right? But if you clap back, you're problematic. Right? It's like dealing with people who want rules that only apply to everybody else. That's not community, right? That's dictatorship, all right, with emojis. How you mad at someone for playing the same game you invented? Oh, you mad because they're beating you at the game you invented. Oh. Now, let's talk about these fake victims, right? Back at it again, right? There's a whole epidemic of these, how can I say? There's a whole epidemic of it, happening right now. Like, these are the people who start the drama, stir the pot, light the match, and then cry when the, fire gets too hot. They want sympathy without accountability. They want attention without honesty. And they want to be seen, right, as the wounded angel while acting like the devil behind the scenes. Right? And the internet eats it up because people love a sob story more than they love the truth. Why do people weaponize their pain instead of healing it? I think that's the dumbest thing to do. Come online and use your pain as a weapon, knowing damn well it's going to backfire. And then you got the grown adults acting like Disney characters once again, right? And not the wise ones, all right? I'm talking about full-blown, all right, Peter Pans who refuse to grow up, Tinkerbells who need, constant applause, all right, to stay glowing, and villains who think they're, misunderstood geniuses. It's like watching, a theme park melt down in real time. Folks be online performing like they're auditioning for a reboot of Once Upon a Time. And I'm sitting here like, yo, baby, this ain't Neverland. All right, this is the internet. So why do grown adults need fantasy roles to feel important again? Listen, I know I'm talking to myself right now and, the few people that are listening in the chat. But, I would love for someone to really be honest with this shit. Because I swear to God, it's like you come online and it feels like the way China's supposed to be. For real. It's like, no, you're going to do what I tell you to do. Or I'm going to just, I don't know. What the fuck y'all going to do? Y'all going to do what a madam does? Off with my head, we back to Wonderland again? Like, shit. It's more like Neverland. We never grow up. It's more like Neverland. Peter Pans and Tinkerbells never want to grow up. Some women want to just, stay, young forever and glow. Some men just stay little boys, never mature. Same go for the women. And then, you got the issue where everybody want to change and flip scripts. Can't tell what's what anymore. Like yesterday in the meeting, I'm thinking, well, at first we was waiting for Samantha to come on when we was watching the comedian meeting here in Philadelphia, right? But then the dude comes out with a wig, and we thinking it was Samantha. All right, they didn't say nothing to correct the whole misunderstanding, but then Samantha pops out, and it's a young white woman. Then this other dude that comes out to speak, right? He didn't give his. He was so hyped to speak about give his little speech out because he had a 2-minute limit. How they come in his neck because he didn't present himself properly. But we don't even know who Samantha with the wig was. We know who the white girl was. That's the real Samantha. But see my point? You see my point? The hypocrisy. I mean, we could all be a little hypocritical, can't we? Yeah, I think a lot of us. But when you exaggerate that, Lord, come on, man. But the part that hits the deepest, right? The family, right? The family exposing each other for clout. That's a different level of broken, right? I lived through that back in my MySpace days, and I outgrew it. I healed it. I learned, but some people never left that era. They'll drag their mama, their cousin, their siblings, their kids, anybody for a few likes and a little bit of attention, like a 5-year-old trying to get mommy and daddy's attention. But these grown folks, it seems like mommy and daddy never gave a fuck. Mommy and daddy never gave them a hug. Mommy and daddy somehow, some way neglected them in a way where now they got to take it out, on everybody else. You see where I'm coming from? Like, it's crazy, right? Because they're so stuck on that era that they'll drag their mama, their cousin, their siblings, and their kids, anybody, just for a few likes and a little attention. We've seen it lately a lot, right? Like, they'll turn private pain into public entertainment, and once it's out there, you can't take it back. How do you claim to love your family but treat them like content? I mean, look at the Glorilla and the Brorilla situation. Look at a lot of situations that are happening here on YouTube, right? And let's be real, right? And like I said, I wanted to, hit on this, right? Because I haven't been able to touch on the Glorilla situation and much more. That topic, I think we're going to move it on to tomorrow. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make tonight's live, but if we do, hey, we make it. But I'm still going to, change the timing for tomorrow. And then we're going to get on to that. And we're going to hit deeper into the family drama and chaos online, right? And what's crazy, right? We got to be real. Let's be real. A lot of this behavior comes from people who never matured emotionally, right? They're grown in age, but toddlers in conflict, right? They don't know how to communicate, so they'll lash out. They don't know how to, self-reflect, so they'll, blame others. Like, they don't know how to heal, so they'll project, right? And the internet gives them a stage to perform instead of, a mirror to grow. That's why I always say, if you're bleeding on the matrix, log off. Why do people expect strangers online to fix wounds they refuse to treat offline? Once again, all right? And the saddest part, people don't even realize how much of their identity they've handed over to the internet, right? They let strangers decide who they can talk to, who they can like, who they can, follow, who they can forgive. They let comment sections dictate their emotions. They let algorithms raise their self-esteem. And then they wonder why they feel so empty. Right? Like, baby, you can't build a real life on digital approval. When did we start letting the internet tell us who we're allowed to be? We know the answers. It's just that, right now I'm talking to myself. So I'm not going to keep yabbing and jabbing. I'm going to continue and give my commentary. You see where I'm coming from, so that I can get on with my normal life out here. All right. And at the end of the day, all this drama, the sides, the fake victims, the family exposure, the Disney characters, it all comes down to one thing. People running from themselves. It's easier to perform, all right, than to heal. Easier to blame than to reflect. Easier to pick a side than to stand alone. All right. But I'm not here for performance. I'm here for the truth. Right? I'm here for the growth. I'm here for, how can I say, the conversations that actually mean something. That's why I pay attention to certain people in the chats and not everybody. Because some people come doing some dumb shit, whether it's in my chat or other chats. But other people I can have a conversation with and have a good live. We could goof, we could joke around, we could roast, we could get real serious. And it doesn't go left. But with certain people, you can't do that. So you can't treat everybody the same. Right? So are you here to entertain strangers, or are you here to evolve into the person you were meant to be? And me, I'm not in competition with no mofo, online or offline. I'm in competition with myself. I'm trying to be, how can I say, a better version of me than what I was yesterday. Hola. All right, so what happened out there? Now I hear the firefighters. First I heard commotions and stuff earlier. Now you hear the firefighters and stuff. So it happened out there. But I'm about to start cooking, guys. All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move tonight's live for tomorrow, and if I can go live later on, we're gonna pick up on part 3 of this. All right, because I gotta get started. I gotta finish cooking and doing what I gotta do over here. Then we can go back live, man. If you ain't sub up, make sure you subbed up. All right, let's talk about it. Blessings, Alan Clay. I know DJ Joker. You got this long name, man. Blessings, Alan Clay. I'm gonna say it like that.
Wild Joker.
Yeah, then you got this long thing. I'm over here like, wait.
Yeah, it's the AKA that threw you off.
I'm like, yeah.
It's Alan Clay, AKA Wild Joker race.
But yeah, man, the link has been dropped, man. These are open panels, man. Anybody is welcome to hit the link. I'm gonna do it again tonight. All right, we're gonna do an open panel. Hopefully, people come up. Let's have a conversation about what's going on here in Philadelphia. Is it just happening in Philadelphia? Is it happening anywhere else? Are they, we know that they've been trying to erase Black history for the longest, right? But it is like they're taking it a little far, and they're doing it in our faces, right? And expecting us to stay shut. It's like, I'm going to get a little bit into it later, right? We're going to go real deep into it, right? Like I tell people, man, y'all see that I cut down the cussing when I, get into these topics, right? I don't get too emotional. I try to, how can I say, find the proper words for this, because these are, topics that really do need to be talked about, right? And I want people to come up, all right, and have, a good conversation, and not, how can I say, not feel offended, all right? And a lot of people, for some reason, take these topics go left, like, just I want to say like 2 days ago, somebody was talking about, how can I say, Maya Angelou, right? And I'm sitting here and I was like, it's crazy because it's our own people. Y'all trying to bring her past up, like her past defines who was the woman that sat here, right? And how can I say, inspired and motivated a lot of young ladies like me. Right, and I'm sitting here like, it's crazy. Like, why is y'all bringing her down? What does her past got to do? Like, she overcame her past. She overcame the obstacles that were holding her down at one point. And how can I say, became an inspired? How can I say? What's the proper word that I'm looking for? An inspiration for many people. Right. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. As a survivor, Maya Angelou was one of the first poetry. One of her poems. Right. My bad. Her poetry books, right, was one of the books that I picked up, when I was young, and it inspired me a lot, right? Then I started learning about the other poets when I started writing, when I started learning how to, do poetry and expressing myself and, expressing the things that were being, shown to me and the things that I had to face, all right? Maya Angelou was one of the first ones. So it's crazy how people try to use a person's past to knock them off their hinges, and it's crazy because she's not even here. May she rest in peace. But don't sit here and try to use someone's past, right, to erase the progress that they have done throughout history. Right? They've tried to do it with all of them, from Martin to right, to LeCount, and Rosa Parks. Right? Listen. Rosa Parks, right? They say LeCount is the Rosa Parks of her era, right? And like I was saying earlier, right? Or was it yesterday that I said it? I'm not listening. I'm everywhere right now. But I know I said this, and it's the second time I'm about to say it, right? LeCount, right? Rosa Parks should be, how can I say, the LeCount of Rosa Parks era. Because LeCount came before anybody. She was the first woman, right, to stand up and fight for, for, how can I say, for the rights to stand in front of the bus. She was the first Black woman to do it. And it's crazy because she I think, if I'm not mistaken, going deeper into that, they said there was another person there with her, right? But she was the loudest and the most furious. And this is when, how can I say, buses were trolleys back then, right? Like, and what's funny is that these trolleys wasn't even running, how can I say, on the little wire thingies. They were running, the horses were running when she did all this. So LeCount came, before Rosa Parks, and they both of them did something. All right. Both of them should be talked about. Not one should be put in a pedestal and the other one, should be hidden in the shadows because of this and that. Like, come on, everybody has a past, everybody has a history. But like I said, man, I'm gonna get deeper into this. Make sure you sub up if you ain't sub up, because we're gonna get deeper into it tonight, 11 p.m. I'm gonna try to come live around 11 p.m., 12 o'clock at nighttime. All right, 12 in the morning, and I'm open a panel. All right, once again, and see how many people want to come up and have a conversation about this, bring solutions to the table. All right, but until then, we out.
Yeah, we living in a world where the rules don't apply. They say we gotta follow, but we ready to fly. System got us boxed in, trying to keep us small. But we rise like the phoenix, we ain't scared to brawl. They feeding us lies, but we see through the smoke. We're the voice of the people, we're ready to provoke. They want us to divide, but we're stronger as one. Breaking chains, taking names, yeah, we getting it done. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. This in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. In the world of division, they showed us how to share, but the weight of our sorrows, they never taught us to bear. We split our joys and laughter, but the pain remained untold. A burden we carry alone, a story left untold. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. We learned to divide our dreams and multiply our fears, but the ache in our hearts only grew with passing years. They gave us all the answers, except how to heal. The scars that run so deep, wounds that time can't seal. Yeah, they taught us how to share, but only the good. Smiles and laughter like we understood, but deep down inside there's a storm we hide. Pain in our hearts, we're just trying to ride. Put on a mask, yeah, we play the part, but nobody sees the cracks in the hearts. We share our dreams, the highs and the lows, but when it comes to hurt, we just close the doors. We share the fun times, deflect the pain, laughing in the sunshine, dancing in the rain. But the shadows linger, they creep and they crawl, breaking us down, but we don't share at all. We got hate in our hearts, but we keep concealed. Taught to share the joy, but wounds, they stay unhealed. They said love was easy to divide, but the heartache never subsides. We tried to split everything into two, but the pain lingers strongly true. Shared our dreams, divided our fears, but the sorrow remained through the years. No matter how we tried to let go, the weight of our suffering continued to grow. Now we're apart trying to heal, but some wounds are too deep to conceal. They said splitting up will set us free, yet the pain lingers in you and me. In a world where rules are set in stone, the system's grip tightens, we're not alone. Bound by chains of majestic greed, against the odds we fight to be free. Mighty forces try to keep us down, but our spirits rise, refusing to drown. Defying norms, breaking through the mold. In this battle of wills, our story is told. As the clash continues day by day, we stand united, come what may. For in this world where rules don't apply, our strength and unity will never die. They try to silence our dreams, but we're loud and clear. With every step forward, conquering fear. They can't hold us back. We're the fire and the flame in this battle for freedom. We're all in the game. They say it's just a game, but we're playing for keeps. With the strength of the many, we're shattered elites. No more puppets on strings, we're cutting the ties. With our eyes on the prize, we're reaching for the skies. So let's stand together, let's break down the walls. In this fight for our future, we'll answer the calls. From the ashes, we'll rise like a storm. Riders ignite. It's us versus the system, and we're ready to fight. They building walls, but we're digging tunnels. With every step we take, we're shaking the bundles. From the streets to the courts, we're raising our voice. In a world full of noise, we're making the choice. They want to keep us blind, but we see the light. Knowledge is power, and we're ready to fight. From the corners of the city to the halls of the state, where the heartbeat of the struggle can't afford to wait. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. It's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. Now we stand here broken, searching for some light, hoping for a way out. of this never-ending night. But through it all, we find strength in each other's embrace. Together we'll face tomorrow and find solace in this space. They say don't bring the drama, keep it all light. But every night I'm fighting these demons in sight. Whispers in my mind, yeah, they echo when they shout. While I'm smiling on the surface, I'm breaking without. We're sharing the laughter, but what's underneath a battlefield of sorrow, a war with no peace. We're warriors in silence, but nobody knows how the pain that we carry just grows and it grows. In a world of lessons learned, they taught us how to stand and burn. But the scars we hide deep inside are the ones that never subside. We followed all rules they made, but the emptiness never fades. Their wounds like knives, cutting through, leaving wounds that always grew. They painted pictures of success, but couldn't fix what's left on us. Now we're left to bear the strain of the pain that lingers, never wanes. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. That's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. So remember this moment, remember this face, remember this sound. We're the voice of the future, and we won't back down. In the face of oppression, we'll stand up tall. It's us versus the system, and